of last year, June 25th, that we've all gone back, including the Gen Zs, we've all gone back to the way politics used to be played. Are you hopeful that this idealistic way of conducting politics that we are hoping we would get into, are you hopeful that we'll ever get there anytime soon?
I think now it boils down to the voter at the grassroots. This is the time that the voter should take into account the kind of leaders that they are electing. They should interrogate what kind of agenda do these leaders have, because at the end of the day, the person who has the biggest voice at the ballot is the person who is going to take that vote and vote. And once they have those aspirants on the ballot, the voters on the ground should check on which leaders have an agenda, because what gives these leaders the bravado to have maybe those goons and that kind of violence is when they say that this is what the common wananchi wants. Because if a leader goes to the podium and articulates to the people that this is what I want to do for you, maybe the people will just be, they don't want to give quite a premium on that. But if a leader comes with a lot of goons and is just bravado, empty talk, that is where they kind of give that premium. So I think we need to educate our voters on the ground that this is now the time to interrogate ideas. And as you can check, for example, right now the government is trying to shift the youth empowerment agenda into now to be on the mainstream, because we're having now like the Nyota program where the government is going to pick 70 youths per ward to get a 50,000 grant to do their businesses. We have also seen other programs like in Nairobi County recently, I saw His Excellency the Governor Sakaja. He employed about 3,500 young people who are in the Green Army on permanent and pensionable terms. I think those are the kind of conversations that we now want to have, whereby the young people are empowered. Those who want to get jobs, we create a conducive environment whereby companies are going to invest in our country. That is why I think I saw His Excellency the President had gone to Japan to have bilateral talks with the government of Japan, so that we have foreign direct investments into our country. Companies can invest here. We have young people getting jobs. Those who can't get jobs, we want them to be empowered to do businesses, so that when the young people are engaged, they will not have any premium to be goons. They will now be engaged in their businesses, their jobs, and we will all be engaged in nation building.
Yes, we are focusing on 2027. We are already past the 2-year mark. We are within a year and 11 months now to the next election. The hope was that come 2027, our politics will be very different, especially given the kind of reawakening or awakening of the youthful generation. Are you hopeful that anything will have changed by then? Or are we going to play politics in 2027 the way we've seen it since the 90s?
Thank you, Fred. And I'm often castigated for this, but this is what I say. The more things change, the more they remain the same. Mm-hmm. So it's very unfortunate. I'm of the opinion that politicians look at the next generation. I look at the next election, but leaders look at the next generation. As my panelists have all said, it's good for us to look and interrogate our leaders well, because it's very unfortunate to see young people still being used to actually conduct politics, and it's very unworthy and very unlikely for us to perhaps have changed in the 1 year and 11 months. Because the truth of the matter is, if you dial *254 and go to the Nyota project, unfortunately, it is very hard for you to get there. It's just, they're very good on paper, very good ideas, but unfortunately, the youth are not gotten from those Nyota funds. It's for you to still have known the people who had employed those goons, perhaps after a well-done job on the streets, perhaps have thrown 3 or 5 stones towards the convoy, perhaps is when you would actually get that Nyota project. Because the truth of the matter, I have gone to *254#, gone to the Nyota project. I think it's option 4 or 5, if I'm not wrong. And it's unfortunate, I'm always given the same message, that this Nyota project is not still giving proceeds. Of course, I have borrowed some hustler fund, then I have not repaid because, of course, of the situation and the economic hardships that we are having as a country. But what I can say is that the things are not changing, unfortunately. but it is also for the voters, for them to decide that if they do want the change, please don't entertain the politicians who come with the goons and all that. Because yesterday I saw, indeed, they've taken the give me your right cheek, when I slap you on the right, you give me your left, and perhaps by the time you've reached the left, you've hardened your cheek. And it's a very unfortunate scene for us to see that these things are happening the same way. Because I think the young people are more educated and they're more reasonable to understand and see what really is happening. For us, we're always told that, yes, we don't have an idea, and that's their discourse, and that's the insinuation that they do have in the public. But unfortunately, all I can tell you is that, yes, people are willing to change. It just depends on how the grassroots, and that's their ballot and the ones who do elect the leaders, how they do actually view these politicians when they come to present their ideas. Because that bravado, as you say, is not something to be celebrated. Those goons, it's actually anarchy, as we rightly put it, because the heavy presence of arbitrary power on the part of the state is something that indeed will put our country down. Because we do play along here, we do throw stones, we do, of course, due to the very jobless nature of the young people, who are about 70% of the republic. But if we actually do sit down and decide that we will change from how we even approach the leaders, then it would be very wise of us to perhaps interrogate properly and be more watchful of what the politicians are doing.
All right. And if you look at X right now, goons is a top trend in Kenya this morning. Everyone is talking about the goons and what happened yesterday. And the hope is that this is not the way we carry out our politics. I want us to switch gears and talk about something else that has been making headlines this week. And this is about corruption and the war against corruption. The president sensationally came out this week and pointed an accusing finger at members of parliament, both the National Assembly and the Senate. But questions have come up after, questioning the genuineness of the president in the war against corruption. That this was not his biggest campaigning issue. That for the first 2-3 years of his reign as president, the fight against corruption has not been a big deal. Then now he comes out and directly points a finger at the members of the National Assembly.